Welcome to the Free Culture Sports Show. It's been a while. Actually, I think it was like January the last time I was on a show. I can't remember. Did we do a show in February?
I thought we did one.
We might have done one.
I think we did one in February, but what's the difference at this point? It's May.
Yeah, so I began coaching, and you've been coaching as well. And basically, I coach on Saturdays and Sundays, and you coach on weeknights. So basically, there wasn't really a time when we could do the show. This breaking news for those of you that are watching this live. In the first 15 minutes of Southampton-Aston Villa, Southampton is up 3-0. I guess it's the first 18 minutes, but I get little browser score reports for a bunch of different leagues. And speaking, I'm looking at, score reports here, and I've got this open, and I see you've got a question in the notes. Is the Scottish League dead? So I want to ask you what you mean by is it dead? The league still exists, so it's not dead in that respect.
Well, true, but it's just that I guess you don't really hear anything about Celtic and Rangers anymore. And there's probably various reasons for that. But, it's just I don't think that we can ever go back to the way things were with the way that money is such the key factor these days, when money used to not be a factor at all. A team from any country could almost win the Champions League. Well, now you've got to have a payroll of hundreds of millions of dollars to even have a chance. So the Scottish League is not where I would think people would be going, or people would be following unless they were in Scotland. It is interesting, and we can talk about this more because you put it in there, but it is interesting that the American players are not in Scotland, but they are in other places. Like, why not Scotland?
Yeah. So one of the biggest teams to bring in American players, and off the top of my head, the only one, was Rangers. And then Rangers, I don't know how the legal things all play out. Basically, they got demoted to the 4th division. They rearranged things in Scotland so that it's like England. And now the 4th tier is called the 2nd division or League 2 or something like that. But anyway, it's like the lowest division in Scotland. I think it's like literally the lowest division, not just the lowest professional division. So they have to work their way back up. I think they're in the Scottish Championship now.
They're in the 2nd tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the big reason. Why has Celtic not picked up Americans? That I couldn't really tell you. It's not that they are opposed to bringing in, players from other countries. They have, a Greek player. They have, I think, a Honduran player. They've got players from all over. Just I don't know why not the U.S. But without that competition, and the thing is that, I guess it's without the revenue, then they're not able to bring in as many players, because you would think that Celtic would just win everything, and that actually hasn't been the case. They've been losing in a lot of cups. Now, granted, those are one-offs. I think they have won the league, every year that Rangers hasn't been in the league. But they're not dominating the way you might have expected them to, and they're just not getting the TV money because Rangers isn't there to compete against. Mm-hmm. So,
well, they are winning, or they did win the league this year, the Scottish Premiership, pretty easily.
Yeah, they haven't. It's not over yet, although they may have technically won it.
No, they've technically won it.
Yeah. So I used to follow, but now for a variety of reasons, one being just that I'm busy, I don't really pay attention to Celtic like I used to. But you have in here that Americans are usually slower. Is that really the case?
Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but the perception, or like, I guess when you think of a typical American or a typical American athlete, it's more of a strong man than a quick, pacey player who you can't really keep up with, or one with extreme technical skill, I guess. But you just think of a stronger built player, which may mean slower, it may not, but taller, a little bit bigger, and that tends to, in my opinion, go back towards the Scandinavian side of things. Thinking about, I guess, historically, like Vikings, and that kind of territory, as opposed to like the Spaniards or French, who don't really have, like, when you think of a French person or a Spanish person, you just get a different like picture.
Someone with a beret.
What's that?
I said I think it's someone with a beret.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's just it's hard to quantify, but when I think of like an American athlete, it's more like a American football player, which is large and runs in like one direction and not kind of quick change of direction people.
Well, what about Stephen Curry or Allen Iverson, or to go back a few years? I mean, those guys were quick. I mean, granted, they're playing basketball and not football, but
but they're still, those guys are still 6 feet tall or more. So they're quick compared to. I mean, I'm sure they're quick compared to anybody's standards, but they're quick compared to other basketball player standards, because that's what we see them against.
Yeah, but I mean, you can look at. I mean, there's other NBA players, Lizzie Bogues, Bud Webb. There's some other guys that shorter than 6 feet in the NBA, and the reason they're there is because they're quick. And probably love things like that and shoot, but So I mean, I guess there's Landon Donovan, obviously, a guy who's not big and was asked, and I'm trying to think of like other players that are in that mold, but I don't know how big this was. He's the one that doesn't strike me as like Brian Pride type. With who's like sort of ready to go stand in the box and get footballs into him. Maybe literally, maybe metaphor for you to just put the ball with your feet into for him. But.
Well, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of players in Germany, and I think that there's a lot of reasons for that. But it just seems I guess back in the day, Scotland was closer. They would still speak English.
Yeah.
It was close to getting into England. I guess there's a lot of reasons why Scotland would have been a place for a lot of American players to go, but now, as I guess the term is, as flat as the world is, or as small as the world seems to be these days, you can go anywhere, and a lot of them are in Germany, and a lot of them are in Norway.
Now some of that is because they were born in Germany.
Yes, I mean that is, and military bases,
right,
and whatnot. What that site doesn't do is it doesn't really tell you who has potential dual citizenship or ability to play for other countries.
Yeah, so this is the Yanks Abroad that's in the show notes, but we hadn't said that. On a related note to who has dual citizenship, Zalewam, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Gideon is playing for the U20s now. So I think that means that he's with the U.S. for sure now, because you can only change your country once, and he just did that. I think that's the case. Maybe you can only change it once at senior level. I'm not sure. I know that was.
I don't think you can change it at all at senior level.
Yeah, you can. So you are registered, I guess, as a player, but it doesn't finalize until like you've played so many competitive matches or something like that. So like friendlies don't count. So you could play a bunch of friendlies for a country, and then if they're not giving you any competitive matches, you can file a request with FIFA to change countries. So I don't know all the details to all that, but you can definitely change it.
Oh, well.
Because Diego,
I guess because you haven't made an appearance yet. That's what I was thinking, was you couldn't change it after you'd made a competitive appearance.
Yeah. Once you've made a competitive appearance, you can't. But so I don't know how all the but they have to register you to pay you, and for the friendlies they have to register you. I don't know how all that works, but there is a process for putting on one national team shirt and then putting on another later. But you can only do that once. So if the second team doesn't play you any competitive matches either, tough cookies. Also, still the first half, we're less than 30 minutes in the Southampton game. Southampton is up 4-0 now. So,
wow.
Southampton, maybe they do want to get into the Europa League. I don't know if that's genuinely possible for them, because I know that there's a couple teams in England that are vying or not vying for the fair play. But it seems like, speaking of the fair play league, it seems like that would be an easy thing to win. Just don't foul anyone.
I guess there's got to be more to it than that.
I don't think there is. I think you have to be in the first division of your country. I think you have to have the least amount of cards. It's all based on cards, so you can still foul people. But my understanding is based on cards. So you don't get, of course, teams in England may be at a advantage doing that because officials are used to a more physical game, and the players adjust some to the officiating too. So they not foul as such in other countries because the officiating is going to cause it more. I don't know, but I can't remember off the top of my head what those groups were. So back to the Mathis thing, he was 5'10", and Marcus Beasley, who played at Rangers, 5'8", and he's another guy I know for sure is fascinating. Mathis is a little ways back. He's fast, but so Marcus Beasley definitely known for his sort of the typical winger, even though he played at left back some as well. But fast guy getting up and down the wings. But I mean, I guess to your point, those guys are not the majority of the players. That's Donovan and Beasley from sort of the last cycle, and Mathis from the cycle before that. So
well, I mean, you've got a player like DeAndre Yedlin who is super fast down the wings, but hasn't. He got noticed, and Tottenham has given him a few times that he's been injured and hasn't really done much. So you can't say that he's a success yet at Tottenham. I don't know. It's just interesting. I was just thinking about it the other day as I was watching the Real Madrid game and seeing where the players came from. A lot of Spanish players, a lot of Italian players, at least on those two teams.
Right.
And I was just like, what do those players have that an American player couldn't or doesn't have? What is it? I mean, is it that they're just technically better? And how is it that a bunch of they're that far ahead technically if it's just technical ability? you know, there's some reason why, and I don't honestly want to say it's because of athleticism. I mean, that could be a factor, but I mean, Spain's and Italy's greatest athletes are playing soccer and not basketball or American football.
Well, we can certainly say that about gridiron.
Yeah,
Less
some
so
are
about basketball.
more playing basketball now than there used to be.
Right.
But I mean, what do you really think it is? Why? What is it that keeps an American player from being as good as players for like Real Madrid? I mean, what is it that an American player doesn't have? Is it experience? Is it ability? I don't. It's hard for me to fathom that there's not like one American player who can be on that level.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had goalkeepers, I think, that are more or less on that. I mean, Howard was at United. Aston Villa was pushing for Champions League spots when Friedel was there. Now they're fighting relegation. But yeah, I mean, the outfield player is still, obviously an issue. I mean, I think one of the things is they're not coming up through academies. Now, the MLS is starting academies, but those academies are still going to be, I mean, they're 100 years behind the academies in other countries. So are the academies in, say, Costa Rica that much better? Because, Navas is the backup goalkeeper for Real Madrid. They probably are that far behind Mexico. Hernandez was on there for Madrid. And the other ones, Brazil, Wales, Colombia, France, Germany, Portugal, probably they are. The one also that sort of catches me out here is Croatia. Now, the former Yugoslavia had some really great teams in Serbia, Croatia, and Montenegro. They all have pretty good teams now, but I don't know why that is. If they're just playing in the streets, are the academies really that good in those countries? I don't know enough about those ball nations to sort of really say. But I think part of it is Stephen Curry's of the world and LeBron James. You can't just like put LeBron James on the ball field and say, he's gonna be great. You have to like come up, and like learn the technical ability and stuff. Mm-hmm. But at some level, it's about natural ability, and the guys that have the most natural ability have traditionally not played in the U.S. Now, I think that is starting to change, but again, they're not getting the kind of unless they're going to like, the U17 camps, or I don't know what other age groups, but unless they're going to the U.S. camps in Florida, like Donovan and Beasley did, then they're not getting sort of that immersive experience. Mm-hmm. And I haven't heard anybody, coming out of those camps for a long time. I don't know, if others have and they just haven't made it big yet, like young players. I mean, I know that some of our young guys have gone over to some big clubs in Europe, but they just haven't made it. I mean, there have been a couple at Liverpool, for example. I mean, I can't remember. One of the guys is like captain of the U17, Pelosi. I can't remember his first name. Mark, I think it was Mark Pelosi. And I don't know, if he's. I mean, you're going to know better than me what, if he's doing anything in the youth system.
Well, I don't know for sure, but I know when they speak of players coming up out of the youth system, his name has never been mentioned.
Yeah. So, Um, I don't really know about. Yeah, I just don't know about the youth players and who's coming good. I mean, the MLS is getting better, but are a lot of these young players going to get lost because they're bringing in the Kakas and the David Villas and the Gerrards and the Lampards eventually, maybe. You know, time will tell on that. But I think it can only be, good for American players to have, experienced players, even if they are, past their prime, to have them over here to learn from them. I think that can only be good in the U.S. in the long term. So we are going to talk about the Champions League final on June 6th, assuming that turns out to work for both of our schedules. Right now, it looks like it will. Did you want to say anything real quick about the semifinals before we wrap it up?
No, it was the Madrid game was really entertaining to watch. The part that I was able to watch, mostly the second half. But it's good to see. I always was talking to somebody the other day about this. I was like, it's hard for me to cheer for Real Madrid or Barcelona. I just don't tend to cheer for teams that are perceived as like the natural, favorite of everybody. So it was good for me to see. Good for me to see Madrid lose.
Yeah, even though Juve is that team in Italy.
Yeah, but well,
they don't have because of the whole Calciopoli scandal and stuff. They don't have the worldwide appeal that they did when like Edgar Davids was playing for them. But
that's very true. I mean, they have a lot of really good players. So it's no surprise that they beat Real. But I mean, as everybody that I could get a sense of was like, you've got the top three, Bayern, Real, and Barcelona, and then you've got Juve. Like it was the three big dogs and then little Juve.
Yeah.
Which if you just look at their roster, why would anybody think that? I mean,
Evero is past it, at least theoretically. So,
but Italy, like Italian players, at least I don't know about the league itself, or the clubs, but the Italian players are really good playing older in their career. I mean, Pirlo is still out there playing the whole game. Yeah. And Buffon, of course, he's a goalkeeper, but he's been around forever. So I don't know if it's something that they, can they push that to people from other countries who play in Italy? I don't know. But I mean, you still got Pogba and Murat. I mean, they've got youth on the team too. I mean, they're really good. And I hope they beat Barcelona, but I really the potential matchup or with Suarez and Evra and Chiellini and just all of that is the media is going to love it and eat it up and really enjoy it. I'll just wait to watch the game.
So going back to the Southampton game, I was thinking, well, maybe Aston Villa is on the beach, but they are actually not safe. If Hull win their last two games, they will finish with 40 points. And of course, I guess that means that Leicester and Sunderland and Newcastle all have to win to push Aston Villa down into that spot. But being down 5-0 at halftime is not helping their goal differential should they find themselves in a scrap down there. I mean, actually, right now they're at -20, and the -25 puts them with the worst goal differential of the teams still fighting relegation. So,
but there's 4 teams that would have to pass them. That's it seems
they haven't done a good job showing they can win yet. But considering that Tottenham is trying to tank making the Europa League, then some of their teams that they're playing will probably get wins that you wouldn't have necessarily expected. I don't know. I mean, I just I think they should probably start playing some defense. I mean, they've not played offense all year. There's no reason to expect them to start playing offense now. But if they want to not be in the championship next season, they should probably start playing some defense.
Yeah, probably.
So anyway, none of the other games have started as of when we're recording right now. None of the other Premier League games. They start at 10 a.m. and it's currently about 8:30. And I have to go coach in about an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and get off here and eat. Is there anything else you want to mention before we go, Evan?
No, that sounds good.
All right. Well, so the plan is that we will be back on May 24th, which is next Sunday, and that is the last day of the EPL season, and we will discuss the champions, Chelsea. We already know that, and anything else that we know now or do not know now that happened in the BPL season. So for now, that's all from us here at the Free Culture Sports Show. Thanks for watching.